Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very challenging question. I would say, from my perspective, I would say usually governance system is important. Like I work on field labs, so experimentation environment where people comes together to co-create solutions. And in that case, there is a clear role of governance, who governs access to field labs, for example, and it's kind of multi-layered. It's not just, there is usually not a central governance point, but it's more a matter of coordinating different layers, for example, at the organizational level, at the experimentation level, and also the role of the orchestrator in engaging with the field labbers and also with all the partners. But what do you think? Because it's a very challenging question. So there is not.
But in your case, you look at the field labs and the funding that comes into the field labs. Now, is there anything in the governance of the field lab that can influence a higher level of funding?
Yeah, definitely. For example, one of our study is about what are the ingredients of field labs that eventually are associated with scaling, and governance is one of the key ingredients. Like different forms of governance has a different influence on the eventual outcome.
Okay, should I think about permits and things like that then?
Yeah,
Standards?
yeah, definitely. And also like how decision making is centralized, for example, in terms of more distributed, more one-to-many communication instead of more kind of more directive governance. It really depends by the ecosystem and all the ingredients. So there is, I would say there is no better form of governance per se, but
Okay,
yeah.
every government is good.
Yeah.
At once,
Yes.
maybe
Yeah,
different results as the other. Well, in my case, I'm working in the Netherlands with as an expert committee to look at proposals and to make sure that we could really select the right proposals.
Yeah.
And that is not such an easy task because in a way, you get so many different things and they are so different. And they all have a premise and they all have an ambition to do something. But the governance there is really that we provide the criteria together for which each of the proposals really need to comply with. And then it is really more easy to see which project has more potential than another project.
And it's also like the governance suggested in the proposal, something that eventually affects your decision making.
Happy that the governance was already set in terms of, okay, we look at these criteria and we interpret them as this is this and this means that, so that we know what social innovation means, that we know when we talk about education, that we know that we need to involve also and that we need to check that these education institutions are involved, etc. And that makes it more easy. So the governance in that respect was in place. And then in the actual selection procedure, there is just a following of rules and respecting each other for their expertise, making sure that that expertise is on the table, and then, have a good discussion with the proposer.